Wild ones, it's Bernadette. I am the creator and channel of the now award-winning Animal Tarot and Oracle deck, as well as the creator and publisher of whatismyspiritanimal.com and buildingbeautifulsouls.com. And I'm here with my bestest sister, witchy poo, goddess, amazing tarot reader, just psychic extraordinaire, Dana Winters, who has graciously said that she would join me in this tarot card meanings series that we're doing. We're covering every suit, every card, everything you could ever want to know about tarot. And I invited Dana because not only is she an award-winning author with Schiffer Publishing, and your books are...
Wicca, What's the Real Deal? Thanks for asking, by the way. The Sacred Object, Sacred Space, and the Esoteric Dream Book.
Yeah, see, all the smarty pants stuff. So all the academic smarty pants stuff. And I'm like, feel your way through everything, everybody. So Dana, you know, I've had people ask me why I'm having another person join me to do these tarot videos. And I'm like, because you've never seen anybody that knows symbolism like Dana Winters. And it's true. I mean, I know tarot for sure, but Dana's made a lifelong study of symbolism to such depths and degrees that goodness. So she brings a lot of that to you guys, and we've gotten some amazing feedback that you're loving it. We really appreciate you watching the videos. And so today we're going to finish out our twos series, and we're going to jump right in. One of the things that I love for Dana to do, because I learned this from her, I don't know, a couple months ago, and it really, wow, I don't know how I'd never heard this before, but it really opened my eyes a great deal to the emotional progression of folks when you're pulling cards with them. So, and what I mean by that is, you know, if you're seeing swords, if you're seeing pentacles, if you're seeing wands, if you're seeing cups, Dana's got this really great method for gauging the emotional maturity or the emotional progression of the person that you're reading or the person that you are trying to get information for your sitter about in the reading. And Dana, just would you go over that briefly?
Sure.
What order do you see the suits in? Let's start with that before we move on specifically to number two.
I see them in the order of wands, cups, swords, and then pentacles, in that order. So wands are the most youthful emotionally, and pentacles are the most mature. Now they can describe the emotional maturity, like you said, of the reader or the person they're reading about, but it can also talk about the emotional status of a relationship, like from its early beginnings and like the joint combination of where people are. Like one person can be really mature and the other person might be youthful, but if you put those two together, you might get somewhere in the middle where the relationship's at. So emotional progression wise, wands are the most youthful. You've got the page of wands, most youthful of all archetypes. So they're very egocentric, almost, I would say, teenage, like 17, 18 years old, maybe 15. You know how teenagers are, the world, you know, so, and this is not at all negative, but when they're younger, they're immature. They sometimes are naive. They don't always have the foresight they need to have. And they can be very much about just their world and not realizing how some of the things they do affect the outer world. And then as you progress from the knight, which is making some movement forward, all knights are about movement. And then you've got the queen and the king, which is really about the level of maturity within that suit. There's some growth within each suit, but really the wands are very youthful, not at all necessarily focused on stable emotions. They can be very creative, very associated with fire, because a lot of them have salamanders on their clothing, or the sign of Leo, which is ruled by the sun. So you think fire in their belly, sparks of creativity, but fire is volatile. So, you know, you can be out of control or you can be really dry and arid when it comes to emotions. So then we move to cups. Cups is all about love. Cups is all about emotion. Whatever's in the cup, you mold it. So this is finding love, diving deep into the realm of emotion, navigating relationships with others. I mean, you do that when you're youthful in the wands too, but it's more deep. It's more intense when you get to the cups. Then you've got swords. Swords are more about personal truth, finding your real self, identifying yourself, being true to yourself. Particularly think about the Justice card holding up swords.
Right.
It's about, you know, holding up your truth. But it's, and matter of fact, swords, it always reminds me of this, believe it or not, this passage that was written in the Victorian Grimoire by Trish Teleska.
Ooh, which is that?
The passage is, I am the sword, the giver of death and spring, ever sharp, ever piercing, edged by what is true, cutting what is not. I am the fires of rebirth. So it's basically like the rebirthing of yourself after you cut away what doesn't serve you. And then you get to the Pentacles. And actually, there's a saying for Pentacles. There's a saying, actually, there will be one that applies to Cups too. I'd have to go through the whole thing. But Pentacles are about what you value, your ethics, your morals. It's not just about money and abundance and fertility. It's about fertility of the mind and the fulfillment of the heart. And that's the most mature archetype. You get to the King of Pentacles, it's the euphoria, establishing that euphoria. And it's got a sign of Taurus in it, so it's really about Venus finding that love, self-love, love and fulfillment. It's also being, well, stubborn. You're going to stay in that place once you get there. You get comfortable, like a bull gets comfortable in the pasture. So that's where you want to get. That's the main goal for any relationship and or project goal, self-exploration. That's the height of what you want to achieve.
Right. And it's important that people really take a deep dive into the symbolism of the five-pointed star that does make the Pentacles.
Yes.
Because that's, each point means one thing. Each point is a direction. Well, just maybe take a second, Dana, and just talk about.
That's an excellent point, actually. Pardon the pun. That's an excellent point. We're talking about the points. Sorry, excellent. The first point, east, you would think intellect, where you're going intellectually, your thoughts, ideas. The second point is associated with the south and fire, so your will, what you want to manifest. Also, kind of burning out impurities. How you want to purify your soul, whether that's soul progression or your mind. The third point would be water, so that would be associated with your dreams, your visions, imaginings, creativity, but also your connection to spirit, because they believe that many believe there's a veil of water that separates the realms. And then there's the north, which would be earth, so stabilizing it all, the end of it. But the fifth point would be the Akashic point, bringing all of those elements together. So it's about bringing everything together into a culmination, is achieving that zenith of desire or hope or fulfillment.
Right. So we're going to, if this is the first video that you're watching, Dana and I like to do a very holistic view of each card. And it can seem a little tedious. Sometimes it can be a little bit of overwhelming. But over the years, what we found, both in teaching and then, of course, being practitioners, readers for a gajillion years, is it being open and learning, being open to and learning about all of these different kinds of symbolism that really can come from just one eensy beensy little card. Man, it can bring a richness and a depth to your readings that will just be so very helpful to your clients. And for you as a business person, it will keep your clients coming back time and again, because you'll be able to tell them things that are very accurate, things that are very evidential. If you will learn to marry Dana's style, which is let me intuitively take a very deep dive into this symbolism, and mine doesn't deep dive into the symbolism as much as it deep dives into the actual archetype and the meaning of the card. I'm likely to look at the colors, and I'm likely to look at the numbers, or anything that just attracts my intuition for that client. And so let me also just say, I'm looking around fervently trying to find the box. I really thought I had it right here by me, but like a schmuck. Oh, there it is. So just so you guys know, Dana and I base everything on the Rider-Waite tarot. It's the most traditional tarot deck. It's what most people really start with when they're going to for real learn to read tarot. And again, please don't feel like overwhelmed. Please don't feel like this is just too much minutia. You don't have to get it all at once, but we are going to go through the element, the direction of each card, what the numerology of the card means. We're going to take a look at, we've already taken a look at the emotional progression. We're going to take a look at the tarot card meanings, upright, reversed, in love, yes or no. So we're going to cover a lot in this video, and here we go. So let's start with the numerology, because the twos, whether it's the Two of Wands, Pentacles, Cups, whatever suit, the twos mean what to you in tarot?
If it's upright, the twos in tarot represent duality. Well, they can represent duality in reverse as well, but duality, balance, bringing two forces together, yin and yang energies, the masculine and feminine, something that's made whole, um, with the two halves being brought together, and something, I would say, attraction and to some degree, almost like magnets, two magnets bringing together, or it could be repelling each other too, depending on the context of the cards. It can also mean duplicity, diversity, but also division, depending on how you're looking at it.
Yep. So and that coming together where once there was one, now there's two. That can be for anything, you guys. It can be for a job. It can be for a relationship. It can be for a pet. It can be for where you want to live. It can be for, what you want for dinner. But also, and I find this a lot in my readings, it can also mean the balance of yourself,
Yes.
the relationship that you have with self, with your higher self, with your true wants and desires and likes and dislikes and that kind of thing. So, there's a lot of personal development that can go on when you read tarot. And I find oftentimes that when I'm pulling for someone else, there's a lesson in there for me as well. So whoever you're pulling for, just be, mindful that the two can mean whatever, meaning it can be about whatever, including that person. So, all right. So the element of the Two of Pentacles is Earth.
Earth, yep.
Because Pentacles is about Earth. The cardinal direction then would be west, right?
North.
Right. Why do I keep
west is water?
Right. I don't know why I keep associating that with that. I think from a shamanic, it's a whole shamanic thing. But anyway, and so the earth signs are, because the zodiac signs then associated with Earth are Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo, right? And let's talk about that for a second. Why would anybody care what zodiac signs are associated with the Two of Pentacles or any other card? Why would they care?
Well, depending on the question, if it's a question on timing, it might be happening during that time of the year, during those months. It could also be the personality of the person you're questioning about, the personality of the reader, personality of someone they don't know that's coming into their life, or it could even be a person's temperament acting that way. Like
Right.
someone could be a Taurus and still act very analytical like a Virgo, or someone could be a Pisces and behave very much like an Aquarian. And in fact, in astrology, there's the belief that each sign above it is the evolution of the sign below it. So Pisces would be the evolution of Aquarius. So if you were a Pisces and you were acting like an Aquarian, you're actually de-evolving in a way, emotionally a little bit in some way, or losing something in the translation.
Right. And to go back to those metaphysical correspondences, that would make then the season of this card winter.
Winter, yep.
So we've got the direction of north. We've got the element of earth. We've got the associated zodiac signs. Let's just go over quickly. Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn.
Yep.
We've talked a little bit about the numerology of the two. And so let's go ahead and get into then what the Two of Swords, just an overall meaning.
Two of Pentacles.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I don't know why I've still got Two of Swords on my mind. Thank you, though. What overall is the Two of Pentacles tarot card meaning? Like just as an overview.
Or just in general.
Just an overview.
Well, just looking at it in general, you look at the person who's juggling something, juggling two things, trying to keep things up in the air, trying to maintain a specific balance. And the ships in the background remind me of, you think of the ships of opportunity on the horizon. So basically keeping things up in the air, trying to make a decision about what you might want to harness. You notice it's on one leg though, so it's a really delicate balance.
Right.
Trying to keep things, you may drop the ball at any time now if you're not kind of careful.
Right. So Dana and I have come over the years to have our own personal relationships with the cards. So that is, if you look on any tarot site or you read any tarot book, that's pretty much the overall meaning of this card. But when you really commit to getting to know your cards and allowing them to get to know you, you'll find that each card starts to mean something a little bit different. So for me, every time I see this card, yes, it is a delicate balance. Yes, he's having to do a delicate balancing act. but honestly, kind of looks like he's having a lot of fun doing it.
Mhm.
So it's always a call for me to like, go with the flow and, understand that even if you are in the dark or you're backed into a corner or there's a really important decision that you have to make, you don't have to allow it to, to mess up your day.
Mhm.
Trust in the universe, because if you look at the rope, or that is the green rope that has the Two of Pentacles in it, it's the figure 8, and that's the number of infinity, right? And
Mhm.
what that means is it, it's always going to be okay. It's always going to work out. The only reason it won't work out is if you keep putting out there, it's not working out, it's not working out, it's not working out, it's not working out. And the universe goes, oh, okay, they don't want it to work out. So, Dana, what does this green figure 8 mean to you? Because that's always one of the first things I
Yeah.
see intuitively when I see the card. So,
In a general sense, it's a lemniscate, which means infinity, like you said. Um, if I'm looking at it for either decisions or actually sometimes I look at it in relationship readings, there's two coins, one on each side, and that 8 keeps them connected. So it's like a connection of souls to, one soul, because you think about the pentacle being the essence of someone, the essence of another person. Now that 8, if you untwist it, it's a circle. So this is something that, they're juggling back and forth. They're connected, but they're separate. There's something that's separating them a little bit. But just because they're separate, it doesn't mean that the link is broken. If you untwist that knot, you can get the flow going again between the two of them. So shifting of emotional priorities, getting emotional priorities straight in a relationship to restore balance. It also means that one person may be getting emotionally exhausted because they're on one foot. How long can you juggle on one foot before the other foot drops? Or you could be waiting for the other foot to drop, kind of thing, the other shoe to drop, waiting for something to happen. But it's very much about connection with two people being together, or connection of ideas. Your connection with the universe could have a kink in it, or and it's easily undone because it's not like it's a knot that's tied, like a knot that you got to, get a pair of scissors to try to poke through and get apart. It's just a simple twist, and you can get that circle back into shape.
yep. And for me, every time I see this card, God love me, I think of Christmas. The archetype in this card, it does, because he looks like a little elf just standing there juggling a little. I don't know why. I don't know why I think that, but it has come over the years. And every time I see that, I'm like, I know you're having a hard time making this decision, but you're going to make the right decision. And when you do, when you wake up and face and it's going to be like Christmas morning. It's just going to be like an elf, and Santa came and put everything that you would ever need, under the Christmas tree, and you get up and from here on out, it's smooth sailing,
Mm-hmm.
So if we talk about, that's the overall view, and that's what listen, the whole elf Christmas thing, y'all, that's me. That may not be you at all, but that's the overall, tarot card meaning of the Two of Pentacles. So now let's get more specific. So you're in a reading, and the Two of Pentacles comes upright.
Okay.
What's the symbolism? What does that mean for you?
Well, if it's in a relationship reading, if you're interpreting a meaning and symbol for love, the Two of Pentacles means that there's two people that are connected, like I said. There may be some knots in the relationship that need to be worked out. It could mean past life connection in this lifetime that went unbroken, and now you're balancing this karmic scale, so to speak, and reconnecting again. When I see it, I think court gesture. And the gesture was always someone who, tried to entertain the king.
Yeah.
So this could be someone putting on a performance, trying to appeal to you, trying to appeal to someone through humor. The ships in the background, ships of opportunity on the horizon for the relationship. One ship is bigger than the other. So it's like, don't be in a hurry to, harness what comes in initially, because something bigger and greater is coming along. So this could be about relationships when you're just dating. You might want to wait it out until you get serious with someone. But I was studying symbolism. I'm always studying symbolism, but I was reading a book on symbolism over the weekend, actually. And I had learned that the 3 lines, straight lines, means like a mind. And if it's wavy, it means intellect. wavy lines mean active intellect. And if you think about the sign of Aquarius, they're all intellect. They're very independent and highly intellectual. They love to be intellectually stimulated. But that water looks just like the sign of Aquarius. You've got intellect in action. And of course, you've got this in the water. So you've got emotional intellect in action. And what I mean by that is you're letting emotions rule. And those waves are very volatile. If you look at them, the ships are all over the place. Those ships of opportunity cannot come into port if you've got this huge storm brewing and they can't safely get to shore. If they've got tsunami or rogue waves coming at them, you got to get your emotions under control. You got to get your emotional priorities straight before you can harness any opportunities.
Yep. And the other thing, I would say that we're trying to remember to get into every video because it's just so important. You know, when you're a reader and you're looking at the card in front of you like this, it can be easy to say, well, the pentacle that's up in the air is on the left side because that's your left side as you look at the card. But if you put yourself in the card, as we think you should do, and you wear the cloak of, or you become the archetype that's in the card, then the pentacle being held up on the right side, and then the lower pentacle on the left side. So the right side is the male energy, and the left side harnesses the feminine energy. So Dana, knowing that when you see this card, and you pentacle that's higher, so to speak, or more elevated is the masculine energy, and then the left is the lower.
It's no time to be passive. It's time to take action.
Right.
It's feminine. It's not. I don't mean passive as in submissive. I mean receptive or open. But with the masculine up in the air, that's definitely. It's time to take action. It's time to get that knot untwisted.
Yep. Exactly. Okay. So when you see this card, the Two of Pentacles Reversed, what's the tarot card meaning? If you're doing a tarot reading, what's the meaning that you know instantly to ascribe to that? Because it's
first when you flip that over, it goes from taking action, time to be passive, time to be receptive and open. Now he's wearing a dunce cap, and I always think foot and mouth disease when I see this card. Dunce cap, saying something communication-wise because he's wearing all yellow. That may be foolhardy or maybe too soon or based on assumptions and getting yourself in trouble. The ships fall away out of the water. So the water may calm down, and it's almost like due to like an emotional catharsis. Everything gets washed away, including opportunities. You lost opportunities because you don't work out that knot. That knot remains. You remain separate. It's almost like a longing. Can be kind of tragic in emotions where you're longing for one another and can't quite connect.
Yep. And in this world today, man, I'm going to sound old, but my God, people have so much going on, and I'm guilty of this. And Dana, I know you are guilty of this, but we just have so much we want to accomplish and so much we want to do. And let's face it, there's so much out there to experience more easily than when I was a kid, especially through the internet. And, the cost of travel is not what it used to be, and the cost of talking to people, and you can Skype and Zoom now to people all over the world. I mean, the choices are they're mind blowing. And when you have a passion for life and you're a curious person and, just all of those things, it can be very difficult to slow your roll and stop. So this card always means for me, people that are juggling a lot of things, even though there's only two pentacles there, I still see it as this epic juggling act. And so when the Two of Pentacles tumps over and it's reversed, that in a tarot reading, to me, that meaning means, okay, listen, you got too much on your plate, and all the plates that are spinning are about to fall on your little pumpkin head. And furthermore, you're not a person that asks for help. You're trying to do all this juggling all by yourself. It is really time to ask for help, or you're going to go under. And then you're going to have to really ask for help that you really didn't want to ask for. So I see that card a lot when people they've got, too many choices to make, or too many pans in the fire, or too many this or too many that. And it's just a call for them to take a step back, take a deep breath, and prioritize. Yes, you want, listen, are you kidding me? Don't we all want everything at every minute of every day? I do. I'm Scorpio. I desire. I want it right now. I want it yesterday. But that's not necessarily how things work all the time. So, Dana, you know, Lordy, if I had a nickel for every love reading I've ever, you know, ever gotten asked to give, when you see the Two of Pentacles specifically in a tarot reading about love, what does that kind of say to you?
Well, it depends on the question. Like a lot of times I get like, what is this person thinking about me? Well, it's as if they're trying to get their priorities straight, and or they are caught between two states of emotion. One where they're feeling unconfident, one where they're feeling confident, one where they may be emotionally connected to someone still in the past. They haven't let go of that yet. So they're going back and forth. It's almost like a Gemini kind of attitude where they can go from one extreme to the other. And it's a precarious situation because they're on one foot. At any minute, they could suddenly, you know, come to balance, get those priorities in order, and you know, either they're with you or they're not. It could end up being a cold ending or a really deep, intense dive into emotion. But they're very much on the fence. They're trying to decide where they're going. If it's about, you know, the status of their relationship, they're going back and forth. Now, that can be very smooth. You can go back and forth, nice and smooth, if you keep even give and take in balance. But they're on one foot here. It looks like they're weighing to one side where the balance is starting to shift out of balance. So it's time to pay attention to who's taking the lead in a relationship. If there's too much on one side, it's time to balance that out. If there's not enough reciprocity as far as affection, it's time to balance that out. There's something that's starting to slip out of balance that could get dangerously out of balance if they don't address it. It's going to affect the opportunities that are on the horizon, those ships in the background.
Yep. So when I see the Two of Pentacles upright in a reading about love, in a tarot reading about love, I always giggle because I'm like, well, we're all, you know, we're all fools in love, right? And I'm always drawn to that big flaming red dunce cap that he's got on.
We do stupid things for love, we do.
Right? And I'm always like, all right, which one of you two is just being an idiot and try to get them, or is afraid of looking like an idiot, or, you know, I just try to get them to see what the card is telling me, which is it's okay to look like a fool sometimes. It's okay to not have your, you know, shit together all the time. It's okay to be, you know, it's okay as long as those things do stay in balance. Now, when I see the Two of Pentacles inverted in a, you know, in a love reading, in a love tarot reading, all I can ever do is just shake my head and go, would you like the truth, or would you like me to tell you what you want to hear? And you know, they always shakily say, no, I want you to tell me the truth. Nobody ever really wants to hear the truth. I know I don't. Not when it comes to love. I just want to believe in the Disney magic. So, right? So I know that it is just that green rope is going to unfold and wrap around somebody's neck, and that's it's going to be the last of that.
Exactly.
Well, because there is no balance, and there is no, you know, even though the Pentacles is the most mature, emotionally progressive sign in the deck, that doesn't always mean that in that moment in that person's life they're seeing things. Now, part of why I think that is I live and work in a college town, and my goodness, you know, God love the college kids around here. They're just as sweet and gentle and wonderful and kind and hilarious as they can be. And my Lord, I've met some of the smartest people ever. But, you know, all the little sorority girls want to know about love. And they just, you know, I've seen women in medical school getting their law degree, getting their, you know, political this degree and that degree, and are still absolutely, I don't know what the word is, just so disempowered when it comes to personal relationships that it's crazy. I can have like Empress and High Priestess and all of these amazing goddessy archetypal cards come out, And then they'll go, well, could I just ask one more question? Could I ask about love? Do-de-do-de-do-de-do-de-do-de-do. Here comes the Two of Pentacles. And I'm like, oh, Lord. So yeah, in a love reading, there are a lot of cards that can be a little harsh. But I think why this one really, really just takes my heart for the people that this comes up for in a love tarot reading is that it speaks to me of what could have been if they could have just stopped. And you know, when you're talking about juggling all these things, that can be all the stuff that you juggle in your mind.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be the job of this, to that. It can be, you know, and listen, we've all been there. Does he love me? Doesn't he love me? Does he love me? Doesn't he love me? Is he going to marry me? Is he cheating on me? Is he? We've all been there, man or woman. And this just, especially when I see the Two of Pentacles inverted in a love reading, I just think this is not just about this relationship until you can get yourself in balance.
As within, so without.
Yep, you are gonna experience this over and over and over and over again while you're, you know, running the government because you know, that's your career trajectory, but your personal trajectory is like high school. So, you know, then also we get asked a lot, well, could you just tell me yes or no? And like Dana,
Yeah. So, yes.
I saw that eye roll.
Yes. Here's my answer. No, there's your answer. No, I cannot tell you yes or no. That's the closest you're going to get.
Yeah, my answer is always yes. I could give you a flat yes or no, and it will do you no good.
Exactly.
So, do you want me to give you a flat yes or no, or do you want me to tell you yes or no and why? So let's say that someone comes into you and they say, I'm up for a promotion. Am I going to get the promotion? Yes or no? And the Two of Pentacles comes out upright. What do you look at you grimacing already?
Yeah, it's a I can't even say yes to that. It's a maybe, really, because it's going back and forth with it. You might have someone else in competition with you. Depends on your performance. He's juggling. He's performing. It depends on your performance, particularly now and until the moment of the promotion, because the opportunity is still on the horizon. And one ship's smaller than the other. So there's something that is going to be glaringly different about between you and your competition. So if I say yes, because certainly the promotion is on the horizon, the answer is yes. But who told me the but means behold the underlying truth? If you don't have that underlying truth, you don't really have an answer.
Oh, I love that. You guys write that down. Wild ones, write this down. But behold the underlying truth. I love that. Oh my God.
I heard that from, but yeah, I heard it a long time ago. And I always think of when there's a but, this is the real deal. Yes. But here's the truth.
I am now going to say that to everybody. I'm going to say la 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 la, and then I'm going to say, behold the underlying truth instead of but. That is so wise. I love it. Well, here's the thing. When I just did a reading for, oh God, I love this kid. And she's got a master's degree, and I met her first here years ago when she was at UF. And she called me yesterday, and she was like, and I never take calls on a Sunday, but she's like the daughter I'll never have or never had. And I was like, oh my God, what's wrong? And she's like, I just want a job. And I'm like, you have heard of a little thing called the pandemic, right? And she's like, I know. But I said, okay, hold on. And I said, okay, I feel like you're going to get a job having to do with education or training. And I also feel like you know somebody at a very, very high level that's in a job. It's a job you've already applied for, and they actually handed your information to the higher ups, and you're just freaked out about it. Like, you don't think that you're worthy of this job. And that's all you're obsessing on. I said, and another thing is, I keep seeing this. It's like all these resumes are going out. And there's only like, if you send out 100 resumes, there's only like 2 jobs you actually want. Yes, I know, but I need a job. I'm like, stop. Let's go back to the beginning. So come to find out, there's a job that has
Mhm.
to do with her master's degree, with the subject of her master's degree, but it's in creating educational and training materials within that realm.
Mhm.
And come to find out, the person that's one of the muckety mucks in that department is an alum of the same college that she went to.
No kidding.
By the way, and so my client reached out to her, and this person was like, oh my God, you'd be perfect for this. There's an unpublicized bank of 40 jobs coming up. It has to do with a grant that we're getting. We've got to fill these jobs by a certain time, or we don't get all this dollars from the government. So don't pay attention to the job description, because it might scare you, but you're perfectly qualified. Okay, here's why I'm going yak about this story, because I didn't pull cards on her. It was a psychic reading, right? If I had pulled this card and answer to her question of, am I going to get paid? Yes or no? If it was inverted,
and you said no,
well, I would have said no, but only because you're sending such powerful negativity out to the universe.
Mm-hmm.
The job is actually being handed to you, and you're going, no, it's not going to happen. No, and the universe is going, but well, yeah, it is, and you're going, no. So we had to have a conversation about her we call it in the South, y'all, we call it getting right with God. So we had to have a conversation about how she's got to turn that negative manifestation, turn her frown upside down, or she was going to lose that job. Because like this, when we were talking earlier about the balance between yourself and your higher self and your, this can even do with getting all your chakras in alignment, all your auras cleaned out. And I know how woo-woo, new agey, but it's true, y'all. And energy is energy. And science has proven about our auric field and don't make me go off and don't make me talk science all day long. So it's when we go back to using the Two of Pentacles or any tarot card meaning or anything in a yes or no reading, I really, if you're reading for yourself, which Bernadette doesn't recommend, I know people do it all the time and they swear that they have great success. Not me. I call Dana. So,
vice versa.
So if you're reading for yourself, if you're reading for friends, clients, family, whatever, I really implore you not to do a straight up yes or no, because you could be giving them a yes, which sounds like yay if it's what they wanted to hear yes, or oh my God if they didn't want to hear yes, or no when they wanted to or not hear it. But you're not giving them
the equation. Yeah,
you're not giving them the whole story. So your yes might actually turn out to be no, which sounds like a big mind you know what I mean? It sounds like a big cluster in your mind. But the more that you settle in and you get balance in your own readings and you're more comfortable waiting for the story to unfold, I'm telling you, the accuracy and the evidence, it is what will make people appreciate you. It's what will make them trust you. As a business person, it will make them come back to you time and time again. Who doesn't want to build their business on that kind of clientele? They will refer people to you. And even if you take all the great stuff that it has to do for you aside, the butterfly effect of giving people the right information, the accurate, the evidential information, holy cowabunga, you just can't know how far out. I did a reading for a young lady also yesterday. Yesterday was a college kid day for me, and I never ever read on the weekends, but these two particular young ladies are just, oh my God, they mean the world to me. I'm gonna get all choked up talking about them. But one of them is a young lady who she came to me for her very first reading like 6 years ago. And I mean, you could look the story up on my site. It's the story about Hope and her twin sister Faith, that her sister had to be removed in vitro. And this poor kid had never had a reading in her life. And her first intro was mediumship with her, deceased baby sister that she didn't get to meet in this life. Anyway, it's this whole crazy story actually having to do with cards. And she allowed me to tell her story and allowed me to use her real name because, you know, not her last name, obviously, but you have to use the first two names because they appear on this card that magically flips out of the deck. It is absolutely one of the 4 or 5 most powerful, awe-inspiring, magical. Oh my God, I defy anybody in this world to say this stuff is not real. I defy you. And so, you know, she had a reading yesterday, and with what this poor kid was going through here and in here, just the butterfly effect of being able to say, let me make sure I'm anchored in your energy, giving her evidence, giving her very, you know, super specifics. There were some things she didn't want to hear. God knows she didn't want to hear them. But the things that she needed to hear, what that's going to mean for the rest of the world as this kid goes through with a different version, I think a more beautiful version of the career that she chose.
Wow.
I don't even know how many in particular animals this is going to help. I just don't even know. So in the absence of doing that, and please don't write me and say, you know, how dare you, the way you read is not the only way, but I know that, I'm aware of that. I'm just saying that as a teacher, I can only teach you my way. I can only teach you what I know. I can only teach you what I believe. I can only teach you what I think. And I still take classes. I absolutely take classes all the time.
Yeah.
I learn from people all the time. I took an amazing medicine wheel reading class last year before I got sick. Amazing. From a teacher over in England. And I take all kinds of classes, y'all. So please don't write me. But I'm just saying that I'm begging you, I'm imploring you to, when you think you can't get any more, when you think you can't get deeper, when you think you can't get whatever, yes, you can. You've just got to trust, and you've just got to wait for the story to unfold. People will not freak out. Like, people always think they've got to fill space with tap, 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 tap. No, they don't. No, you don't. I'll say to a client, if I really need to take a minute and go deeper, I'll say, give me just a second. I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to breathe for a minute. I'm still with you. And I'll take a deep breath, and I'll just go deeper and deeper and deeper and get deeper into theta state so I can get more information. That's why 2 weeks ago, I worked on a missing persons case. This morning, I worked on a murder case. There are reasons for that. And anyway, it sounds like I'm getting off topic. I'm really not, because like so many other cards, this card can have so many meanings. It's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So don't get overwhelmed. You don't have to know all of this at one time. Dana,
actually, it's the most ideal card to address the yes/no issue, because it's, here you are weighing yes or no. Look at that kink right in that link. Here's what you're looking at, the essence of the situation. Here's the rest of it that you're not looking at when you're looking at just yes or no. So it's the ideal card to say, sorry, yes or no is just not a valid way. I don't want to say, yeah, everybody's going to go start screaming. What do you mean it's not a valid way? For me, it's not a valid way to approach the tarot. It just doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So I think we've covered a lot. I'm sure there are some things that we don't know that we couldn't share with you because we don't know them yet. I'm sure there are some things we missed because, once you hit over 35, your memory just goes down.
We're not over 35. We're 35.
That's true. That's true.
Permanently.
Yes. Dana and I are 35 years old, y'all. So anyway, I thank you so much for joining us. We hope always that this is helpful and enjoyable. I am going to do another plug for my deck because I have noticed since I've had the arc in my life and in my readings, y'all, you can tell people the most unbelievable things. And whereas before, if you were just equating it just to a psychic reading or a mediumship reading, or even pulling cards, it would traumatize them, no matter how gently or in love you said it. Listen, nobody wants to hear the things they don't want to hear. I know I don't. I'm always like, my sister will probably be like, she'll start being a sister. I'm like, la, 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 I'm not listening to you. But
she'll start being a sister. I like that.
She's 8 years older than I am. And I've always called her my North Star, right? So she'll call me and she'll be a big sister. I'll be like, I feel 7 again. So, But you know, when you can equate these messages to animals, it is amazing the things that people will heal and what they'll hear and what they'll be willing to work on with no malice, no fear, no judgment. They're just like, oh, okay. The chimpanzee said it. Oh, okay. The nautilus said it. Oh, okay. The giraffe. I love giraffes, they'll tell me. I'll be like, okay. So anyway, it's 100 cards in the main deck. There are 49 cards available. In the expansion packs, the link to buy this is below. The link to book a reading with Dana and myself, those links are below. The links to buy the deck, I think the link, did I already say the link to buy the deck is below? And yes, so
we're 35. We're 35.
I'm 35. I'm 35. I got to keep telling myself that. So again, we hope this was helpful to you. And what is the most important lesson today and every day? To stay wild. Don't let them tame you, guys. All right. Our next
All
yes, we appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Oh, the link to my Dana's books are below too. So, all right, you guys.
Thank you.
Take care. Stay wild. All right. Bye.